Welcome back to the next video in the DevOps lab series. And on request, this is the video on continuous delivery, or rather I would say CI and CD, the complete picture or complete lab we will perform in this video. So what all steps that we need to prepare, what all steps we need to complete this lab. Let's go through these one by one. So the very first thing is you should have the code that you are going to deploy in your app service. Okay, so the very first thing is code that we have downloaded from GitHub, because I'm not a developer. I don't know how to write the code. I have very basic understanding, but it's okay. It's not only about developers. All right, so then what we need, if you have the code, then you need the target, right? Code is something that you need to deploy, right? But where will you deploy it? That is app service. And how your app service will work, because you also need a SQL DB. So we create app service and a SQL DB and hooked up the connection string. Afterwards, what we need, we simply go ahead in our DevOps portal and configure CD. Okay, CI we have already covered in previous video. It is just the next step, but once you do the commit, it will first trigger the CI and then the CD. And afterwards, what we gonna do, this is the third step. Then we also need to see a few things. For example, we created two app services, one as in stage or QA and another one as a prod. So we'll create these stages on pipeline with different targets. Okay, once this part is done, then what we're gonna do, we're gonna add few things in the continuous delivery pre-deployment, right? The things like approval and gates, and we will hook up gates with the work items. Okay, so these are the things that we are going to perform in a nutshell in this CICD demo. So let's get started. So these are two app services I have created already. You can see one says prod right here, another one just says app, just to save the time. And I hope you guys are already aware how to do that. If you're not, let me quickly take you through. You just need to go to app service, click here, click on create. It will take a minute. Select the resource group. For example, this one. I'm not going to create, I'm just going to show you. Give some random name. For example, I did CICD DevOps app or CICD DevOps prod. The only thing you need to remember, the code that I'm using is ASP.NET. So this is what I'm using in the runtime stack, and you need to choose accordingly. Both my app are residing in the same app service plan, for the obvious reasons, cost. So that's how I've created my app service. We also need the SQL database so that we can configure the connection string and start working. And you need to just click on create SQL database. The things that you need to keep in mind is you need to just give some default name, create your server. Both your app service and your database should be in the same region. And you also need to make sure you allow services, Azure services, to talk to this SQL server. Only then this connection string will work for this demo purpose. There are many other ways you can establish this connectivity, but for this reach, we are going to allow Azure services on this SQL, because This lab we are performing for CICD, not the best way of configuring app service with the SQL. I hope that is clear. So these two things are done. So let's get back. And if I come here to my right here, okay, this is the project that I'm working upon, CICD demo. If I click and open it, you'll see I have repo right here. This is the code. This is the code that I have downloaded from Microsoft GitHub. And you can also do that. It is available publicly for everyone, parts unlimited ASP.NET. Now, things are okay here. We need not to worry about it. We have already covered these steps like get and all. Now let's click on pipelines. This is what we're going to do, and we are going to configure the release pipeline here. So I clicked on the release. That is the continuous delivery. And here we will configure the pipeline along with the stages. So the very first stage is the app service for us, and the production stage is production app service. For example, in the URL you see prod, in the URL you see app. So this would be our target. So let's get back here. Click on new pipeline. Okay. Now here we are utilizing this UI based. All right, you can also do it through pipeline. We have already covered that lab as well. So we need to configure the app service deployment. So we are selecting it. That's simple. It will come up with all the tasks that we need to configure accordingly. Now here it's calling stage one. We can give it a name. Let me call it QA maybe. Okay. Now you can see the job and task is already there that we need to configure once we selected the app service deployment. We can also change the name of your release pipeline right here. You can type in like CICD app something as per your requirement. Okay. Now, what are we deploying here? There's nothing to deploy, right? There's no artifact. Okay. So what we need to do, we need to click here, add, and we need to select the artifact. And where is the artifact? It'll be here. The old the repository that we have, parts unlimited, and the pipeline that might have seen you while we are going to the release, that one. CI has already been covered. So this is the same artifact that we have already covered in the previous videos. So let's click the add. So this is once we commit anything on any of the file in the repos, it will trigger the CI. The pipeline will create the artifact. This artifact will come here in the delivery pipeline. And the first stage is the QA stage. And we see it is not configured fully because there is a mark and it says one job, one task. Click here. Let's see what it says. All right, it says where to deploy, man. There's nothing. There's nothing. There is no subscription, nothing. So we need to select the subscription. They are all right, so I have selected my subscription and I authorized it. I selected my app service, as you can see, the app one, and I'm going to click on save, and then we can check the other stuff. Let's click OK. I clicked on pipeline and this mark has gone. So we can configure the variables here. So we'll go there, but let's come here first and do something that we're supposed to do here. And what is that? That is enable continuous deployment. This is the continuous deployment trigger. Let's enable this. And now select this. And we are good here. We need to click on save. Just enable the continuous deployment. What that means, as soon as the artifact is available for us, it will trigger the delivery pipeline. Remember, we are working on a delivery pipeline. Okay. So Now what we do, let me show you something before. Okay, I do not have any SQL database. Anyways, if when you create your SQL database, there is an option for connection string, right? You can simply copy and paste that connection string to the app services and change the password. Okay, which is very important. Otherwise, you will get the connection string error. Okay, if needed, just let me know. Put it in the comment. I'll create another video for app service connection string things. All right, so this thing seems to be okay as of now. So what we need to do, let's go to repo here. And under this, I'm going to do the same thing that we did in the previous videos. I'm going to edit the HTML file here, and I'm going to call it version 2.0. Okay, and we're going to commit. So as we commit, it will trigger the CI first, and once the artifact is ready, it will hit the deployment pipeline. And if I click on pipelines, okay, you come here and click on pipelines, you see this one is triggered just now. Okay, once this is completed, it will publish the artifact in the drop folder that we have seen like a couple of times in the previous videos, and then the release will start. So right now nothing is happening here, but as soon as it is triggered, we will see pipeline running here. Okay, so let's wait. Wow, it's done. As you can see, it is green. Let's click on the release now. Now this one is running. You can see this, right? The gearbox running. And if you click on the pipeline, this one that we have already seen many times in previous videos, here we have everything, right? All the analytics and everything. And the test pass rate, pipeline pass rate, which is not configured because it's a absolutely basic demo. And here we have this published artifact right here in the drop that we are going to utilize for the deployment. And if you see test, these are the same test. You'll see always the same. 0 failed. So code coverage. Here is the result. And this is the release. Release seems to be completed now. Very good. Now what we're going to do, we're going to test our application. As you can see right now, we if I click here, it says succeeded, and it's continuous deployment, and this is our app service. Let's go ahead and refresh it. Now you can see we got the parts unlimited page here, right? And it seems it's working. You clicked on that, these all are working now, and there is our change, version 2.0. Wonderful. Seems like a successful deployment. Not seems, this is a successful deployment. So what we're going to do now, we are going to add one more stage now, right? This is the QA. Let's click on edit release, and okay, edit the release pipeline. My bad. They should have changed this portal. They always get confused. Let's clone this one because that's what we're going to do. And this is one more target that you can easily configure here, and I'm going to call it prod. Okay. Now, what we need to do in the prod, we need to configure the job and task which will came from the QA, and we need to select the correct target. And also we will apply pre-deployment conditions or maybe post-deployment conditions like gates. After QA, we can do that. So let's click here. We have these post-deployment approvals, right? And gates, we can enable gates here. Gates will go ahead and check in every 5 minutes whether whatever the gate passes. For example, in our case, we are going to configure a query work items, for example, bugs. Let's suppose if there are bugs available in the work items, then it will not allow deployment to happen unless we go ahead and resolve the bug. And once it will query in after 5 minutes, it will find there are no bugs in work items under boards, then it will go ahead and allow the deployment. We can do that. So for that, if I click here, there's so many things that we can utilize, but the best one for us right now, for which we are doing the demo, is query work items, so that we can utilize the boards in the Azure DevOps rather going through all other options. But there are so many other options that you can use in your production environment. Let's click on query work items, and it's loading the queries. We need to select our query, critical box. Okay, so this is completed, and you see delay before evolution is 5 minutes. And if I click on advanced, evolution options right here, it is 15 minutes between re-evolution. If we can make it less, like 1 minute and 2 minutes, no, we cannot. We can only make 5 minutes. So it is more like it will go and check, bug will be there, then we'll resolve it, and it will check again after 5 minutes, and hopefully it will go ahead and apply the deployment. So now what we need to do, because this part is done, we need to check the work items. Just to show you, if I go to boards, save changes, under boards there are queries. Under queries, we click on all. Under all, if you click right here, you need to be aware that under security, your project has the read access. Only then it will come here and read it. Right now it has, so we are good. So what we need to do, we simply go back to pipelines, go to release, and click on release. We lost everything that we configured because we forgot to save. I think I clicked on save changes, but no worries. Let me quickly do that again. Edit, edit release, release pipeline. All right, so we are back. I have configured the gates again and add this production. I add the job and task, nothing there. As I showed you, we selected the subscription and the production app service this time. Because as you can see, app got this version 2.0, but the production still has the default page. So what we did, that's what we did. We selected the production app service, which is also configured at the backend with SQL already. Now, one more thing we can do right here, gate will not allow here like pre-deployment, and we can add approval here, right? Pre-deployment conditions, we can go ahead and enable the approval. We can select, I don't have any other user, so I can select my name here and save it. And pre-deployment conditions, here is the gate that we have configured, and here is the pre-deployment conditions for this deployment. We did only the approval for the production one. Okay. All right. So I hope things are in place. And if you want to guess, you would like to guess, you can guess. Deployment to the QA will be halted by the gates. Sorry, to the prod. QA will be fine, but here there are gates, which is enabled, right? So we need to solve that query. And once we'll solve, it will allow to the gate, but then approval will halt it again. And once we approve it, the code will be in the production environment. So we are learning as of now, the approval, the gates, the work item attachment. There are multiple ways the gates can work, and we can copy, we can add those things. You are with me, you are seeing all that, right? So let me quickly go ahead to the same page, click on edit. Now this time, instead of version 2, let me call it version 3 and commit. Let's commit. All right, as we commit, it triggers. Let's quickly check it. Pipelines. Oh, it has already. If you click here, you can see this one is running right now. And this has already been ran 15 minutes ago. This is just now. So let's wait. And this time it would have 2 stages in the release. Once it start working, like QA, there would be another stage. It will start showing as soon as the artifact is ready. So let's wait. All right, so this pipeline is done. Let's click on release. You see a QA is in progress. Prod is waiting. Now click on release 2. You see that it's processing gates. So what we need to do, I think we should go ahead and, you see, gate did not proceeded because there was a bug. So what we can do here, we simply go to boards, click on queries, all, critical bugs. There is this bug, that's why. So what we can do, we can assign it to ourselves and then simply go ahead and save it. And then instead of approved, we now click on done. This is done. Now, if the same shared query will run, there would not be any critical bug, but it will take 5 minutes to go. So what we can do, just for the sake of deployment, just wanted to show that option as well, which is, let me click release right here under QA. Right, there must be an option which could say ignore gate. In case you are aware why the bug is there, or in case you know the bug has fixed but it has been not resolved in the work item, or maybe you are doing the development or testing, you can use this. Let me use that instead of waiting 5 more minutes. Yes. Okay, now close this. And if I simply go under, sorry, right here and check it by browsing it, you can see we are on the version 3 in the QA environment. But that's okay because the gates were pre-deployment under the for the prod, right? So QA is deployed, but the production needs to be deployed. So now it will take few minutes. It shouldn't because we have ignored it, but let's see. And once it is done, then it will stuck here, as I said, because there is a approval in place. However, the QA is successful, as you can see, app is version 3.0. All right, let's check what is happening in the gates. Well, it's still, we ignored and still it is there. Let's see. Okay. It all seems okay. However, I think what I did, you know, when we forget to save the changes and the production pipeline was totally gone, along with that, the gates were gone. And I just quickly added everything. In that case, I think I forgot to uh, change the time to 5 minutes, and it will wait for 24 hours, something like that. So what we can do, just for the sake of lab, as we have already seen, till QA everything is fine, and gate we have ignored, and gate how we can configure, we already seen that. So instead of waiting that long, we can cancel it. All right, so we have canceled. Now we can quickly go ahead and do the commit once again, and let's see. Okay, so repos. Let me do that quickly for you guys. Let's call it version 4 now. Well, okay. Now it will trigger it again. We'll go back to the pipeline. It's working. Yep, just now. So let's wait. It took a while after cancellation and triggering. But now, as you can see, we talked about the gates, but you can see now it's stuck on the production. QA got successfully deployed, but the production is pending approval. Well, I am the approver. I can approve it, and I can say good to go and approve. And as soon as I approve it, it's all set to deploy in the production. As you can see in progress, it will take 2 to 3 minutes, and our production app service, once we refresh it, it will start doing the same thing like version 4. If I refresh this to version 3, because we did the version 4, the change in the repo for the commit, for the continuous integration and deployment, it should have version 4 now. So it's loading, and our pipeline is still in progress. So let's wait 1 more minute, and then our session would be concluded. So while it is loading, we can still talk about this demo session. In this demo session, what we did, it's version 4.00. And if I click the production one, let's see if it has deployed already, or it's in progress, because here it says in progress. But sometimes it take a minute or two to update, but the deployment has already been done. It happens. That's why I just refreshed it. Anyway, so let's summarize this video. What we did, well, we created the continuous delivery pipeline with Azure DevOps. CI we have already covered. This is the CD, and the demo where we did the commit, it will did the continuous integration, and then the artifact is used by the stage pipeline and then the production pipeline. So this is the complete demo or the lab for CICD. If you want to perform it, you can follow the steps that I did. Make sure you create your app services and SQL and configure the connection string. In the SQL server, allow the Azure services to talk to the SQL database. Only then your app service can talk to. There are other ways, but in this lab, this is the way that we have chosen, because our focus is on CI and CD. We did talk about gates, approvals, number of ways we can have the gates, and you can see 4.0 is here, and it's still showing in progress, but deployment has already been done. So with this, let's conclude this video, and thank you for watching, and you guys have a good day. Bye-bye.